Pride Month is a time to celebrate the various identities that make up our wonderful and diverse community. It is also a time to reflect on and honor the powerful contributions of those who've come before us. We stand on the shoulders of giants. James Baldwin, Larry Kramer, Bayard Rustin, Sylvia Rivera, and Marsha P. Johnson. To them and countless other trailblazers, we are humbly indebted and forever grateful. If you'd like more information on the movement or recommendations on how you can help, go to blacklivesmatter.com/partners. In these dark and difficult times, we hope that this episode brings you a little bit of joy and light.
Welcome to this special Pride Month episode of the Big Gay Fiction Podcast. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Will. When author Julian Winters released his debut novel in 2018, it was obvious that this was the guy with a fresh take on queer young adult fiction. We talked with Julian about his writing process back in episode 139, and he joins us now to talk about his newest book.
Julian, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for our Pride celebration.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this.
Oh, you have no idea how excited I am because I know what you're reading from. I'm super excited to get to hear a little bit of this. So yeah, tell us what you're reading from and what that's about.
Yeah, sure. So I'm reading a section from my next book, The Summer of Everything, which comes out September 8th. I always have to remember these changes. And the book is about a 18-year-old named Wes Hudson. He just graduated from high school. It's his summer between high school and college. So he's in that transition phase where he knows he's going to college, but he doesn't know, what he's going to do with his life. All he wants to do is work at his local independent bookstore once upon a page, and he wants to spend the summer trying to figure out a way to confess his feelings to his best friend, Nico, before Nico goes away to school at Stanford. So he has this great build-up. He's going to make a plan. He's got a list. He's going to go and do it. And then he finds out that the bookstore he's working at is being taken over by a coffee shop franchise. And so now he has to spend the summer trying to figure out a way to save the bookstore rather than confessing his feelings to Nico. So it's this big conflict of how is he going to figure out how to save the bookstore while still spending time with Nico, and also who is he going to be once college starts, because he's just uncertain of what it means to be an adult, even though when you hit 18, that's the label everybody places on you, is this is where you are and you're on your own kind of thing.
I love how you're exploring that.
I'm so excited to, have that out in the world. It's definitely a very rom-com-y book that, of course, deals with other topics.
I love how you keep coming back to that transition into adulthood, because Remy Cameron dealt with that too, and it's such a big deal.
Yeah, for me, I know it was a huge deal when I was 16 and 17 and 18, and even in my early 20s kind of thing. Yeah, so I've noticed that trend for me in like almost every book, where I have to talk about this in some form or fashion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what part of the book are you going to be reading from? Give us a little bit of a setup.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to be reading a section of the book. It's a bit of a flashback section where Wes is recounting the first time he actually came out. And it happens to be to Nico. I mean, it was a total accident kind of thing. And the reason I want to read this section, one, since we're talking about pride, we're talking about, how important that is. For Wes, Nico is his lifeline and to that world. He's the one who understands Wes, who supports him, who doesn't, care about the things that everyone else puts emphasis on. So I really wanted to read this section. And also I think it's a good tender moment, and I think everybody needs, a little bit of tenderness right about now.
For sure.
Okay, forgive me, I am a stumbler when I read always, so we're going to make this happen. The first time Wes came out was a complete accident. Being 16 on a Thursday evening in the summer meant Wes and Nico had three options: video games, going to a movie, or staying in to stuff their pie holes with pizza while watching Netflix films about being a 16-year-old in the summer. Wes voted option 2. Nico hopped on Wes's laptop to Google start times. But per usual, Wes forgot to close out a few of his last tabs. It wasn't porn, thankfully. He'd been researching LGBTQIA plus support youth groups in the area because, yeah, Wes planned on coming out, but not at that moment. Not on the green sofa with a bag of spicy cheese puffs between them and Leo FaceTiming his girlfriend down the hall. There it was, a Google listing of nearby support groups for queer youth. On the screen, in a smaller window, Wes had his newest list. 5 best ways to come out. Nico peeked at Wes through his eyelashes. Wes didn't breathe for a solid minute. The articles and a few movies he'd watched in the dark when everyone else was asleep warned Wes that coming out was a big deal. It doesn't matter if it's planned or if it comes up unexpectedly in a conversation. They also warned Wes that no matter what, he'd always be coming out. It never happens just once. But most of the web pages promised when the time was right, it'd be worth it. So he finally said it. I'm gay. He didn't cry, not immediately. He also didn't look Nico in the eyes when he said it. Nico's response? He plucked the bag of cheese puffs from between them, scooted closer, then curled both arms around Wes. Even at 16, Wes was substantially taller and wider than Nico, but he felt so small in those arms. He buried his face in Nico's shoulder. The dry kiss Nico pressed to his forehead did trigger tears, but Wes was okay with that. Thank you, Wes, Nico whispered into his curls. Wes can't remember what he mumbled back as his tears soaked Nico's t-shirt. He remembers the street tacos Nico bought them on the way to the cinema. He remembers Nico clumsily dancing around questions during movie trailers. He remembers Nico's warm fingers squeezing his palm when Wes stumbled through the answers. Most of all, Wes remembers those 3 words. Thank you, Wes. Sounding a lot like, I love you, when he truly needed it.
Wow, so good. You write those scenes so well. You've got some stuff in Remy Cameron that is also similarly powerful to that. So I'm really so happy you're right. It was the perfect selection for Pride.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let me ask you this. What does Pride mean to you?
So I have to think about how to put this without me getting emotional. I didn't get to go to my first Pride until I was, I think, 24, 25-ish, just because of the family I grew up in, the area that I grew up in, the people I went to high school with, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. We just weren't as progressive as we are now, where you could be an out kid in high school. And it felt the same way when I started college, where even though I'm no longer under my parents' roof, when I still carried that with me. So Pride is such a big deal for me, because when I went to my first Pride, I don't know, it seems kind of like cliche to say this, but it's the first time I felt validated in who I am. And whether it's my sexuality, whether it's my mannerisms, whether it's the people I cling to, it was such a huge thing for me to feel like in all of those people, thousands of people in Piedmont Park in Georgia, to feel like I was with my family for once. So Pride is a huge thing for me to celebrate, to talk about, to give to other people who can't have that moment currently, whether it's in the year 2020 or just in their life period, because of the situations that they're in. So it's such a big deal to me to make sure I get to share some part of that, whether it's in a book form or it's in a post on social media, so someone knows out there that moment doesn't have to happen in the middle of a park or at a parade. That Pride is in you. And when you get to show it and when you get to experience it, it'll be the most wonderful thing. So Pride has always been super special for me. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that'll really resonate with people, that you don't have to wait for that moment in the park.
Yeah.
It can be whatever it needs to be for you and wherever you find it.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't always have to have, it's nice to have that validation from others that you exist and you matter, but when you can find it in yourself, that's super, super important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Totally agree. So how can people keep up with you online, get more information as the book comes out in September, and follow you on from there as well?
Gosh, so I am on Twitter. Unfortunately, it's not Julian Winters on Twitter because that guy won't give it up. But it's at Julian W_writes on Twitter. And then on Instagram, it's just my name backwards. So it's Winters Julian on Instagram. And then if you want to follow me on Tumblr, because I don't know if people still do that, but I will always hold on to Tumblr. It's Julian Winters on Tumblr. Yeah, and that's all the place you can find me. You can find me also on my webpage, julianwinters.com, no www, just julianwinters.com. And they find all information about events that I'm at and books coming out and all that good stuff.
Fantastic. We'll link to all that in the show notes along with the pre-order for the new book, which we wish you all the success on.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for being part of our celebration here.
I'm so thankful to be a part of it. Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed this special Pride Month bonus episode. Our community contains a multitude of creative, resilient, and compassionate people. While we might not be standing hand in hand this Pride season, we stand strong together in spirit. Our spirit is pride. Thank you so much for listening. For a complete rundown of this month's bonus content, go to biggayfictionpodcast.com/pride2020.
Big Gay Fiction Podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. You can find more shows you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. New episodes of this show are available every Monday wherever you get your podcasts. You can help support this show with a monthly pledge through Patreon. For more information about joining our community and the bonus content we deliver, check out patreon.com/biggayfictionpodcast. I'm Kurt Graves. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.